Well, thank you very much to this esteemed body. It's a pleasure to be here and an honor to be here with all of you today. I offer for your consideration that the Korean Peninsula of 2017 is an opportunity and not a crisis. This moment in time offers first an opportunity to significantly decrease the suffering of more than 25 million North Koreans. Second, an opportunity for the Korean people to reunite once again. Third, an opportunity for the entire peninsula to share the many blessings of a democracy. Fourth, an opportunity to once and for all eliminate all nuclear weapons from the peninsula and serve as an example for the rest of the world to follow. Fifth, an opportunity for China to set and act a part of a great power or choose to act as a closed nation. Sixth, an opportunity for the United States to continue in its role as a global power and a global leader. And finally, seventh, an opportunity for North Korea to join the world of responsible nations through direct talks between the United States and North Korea. These seven aspirations, while lofty, are certainly achievable in short order. The alternative of war on the Korean Peninsula or a fully nuclear North Korea are both fully unacceptable. 25 million North Koreans currently live in the world, a world that is considered unfathomable by most everyone in this room today. Limited outside contact, severe restrictions on internal communications and access to the internet, hunger, state-mandated jobs, brutal responses to anyone making disparaging remarks about the political leadership, and the list goes on and on. In 2013, the gross domestic product of North Korea was estimated at $33 billion, while South Korea was at $1.19 trillion. The GDP per capita was $33,200 in South Korea. In North Korea, it was $1,800. And by 2013, South Korea's inside trade volume was an impressive $1.017 trillion. This massive disparity of wealth, education, and freedoms will eventually lead to a unified Korea, or less likely, a transition of the current Kim Jong-un regime. And there are experts in this room who have spent a lifetime studying this issue. A citizen-driven movement for reunification by an organization known as the Action for One Korea focuses on the Koreans' dreams foundation principle of uplifting human rights and dignity, serving as a foundation for shared vision that can unite the Korean people and serve as a new paradigm that advances world peace and human prosperity. We have an opportunity for the entire peninsula to share the many blessings of a democracy. The significant differences between the quality of life in East and West Germany is magnified many times in the case of these two similarly cleaved neighboring countries, of which shared in the blessings of democracy, the South Koreans, and one in which is ruled by dictators, North Korea. And while the variance in quality of life may be seen in differences between the GDPs of East and West Germany, a 1-to-7 ratio, South Korea to North Korea is a 40-to-1 ratio. Like the Germany issue, this will be a significant initial cost to the world, a financial burden. But I offer that is one well worth the world's efforts from a moral, economic, and security perspective. Right now, we have an opportunity to once and for all eliminate all nuclear weapons from the peninsula and serve as an example for the rest of the world. The issue of a nuclear North Korea goes well beyond the Kim Jong-un regime. Consider this, and some of you in this room may not agree with me, but if North Korea is allowed to continue its nuclear weapons program, the Japanese and South Koreans will be forced to build advanced nuclear weapons programs of their own. For both Japan and South Korea, this nuclear program will provide a type of mutually assured destruction paradigm which should prevent even the most radical thinking dictators from using these weapons against other nations. But it doesn't stop there. If Japan becomes nuclear, China will undoubtedly feel a need to expand its weapon systems. In the meanwhile, Iran and other nations will watch the North Korea, as they get their way, develop a nuclear program and threatening world peace, and you may well see a proliferation into the Gulf states and other building their own systems in the coming decade. So, why does all this matter to the average global citizen? Because we will lose control of fissile material. It's that simple. And if you think 9/11 was bad, see what happens if we lose control over the fissile material in the world today. This is an opportunity also for China to act as a part of a great power, or to choose to continue to act as a closed nation. China faces a complex scenario in their own backyard. They are concerned with a united Korea that would resemble the affluent and widely successful democracy of South Korea, a close ally to the United States. If the unification occurs, there is no longer a geographic buffer between the South Koreans and China. But if China does nothing, they are likely left with a nuclear North Korea, a nuclear Japan, a nuclear South Korea, and possibly combat operations that could go nuclear on the peninsula. China saw the impact on nations like Turkey when 4 million refugees flooded their nation of 80 million people. A major war on the peninsula will be many times greater, and with the potential of nuclear, chemical, and biological weapons being used and drifting into the Chinese airspace. And even if none of those likely WMD after effects impact China, imagine the impact on their economy as shipping lanes were shut down and logistics grind to a near standstill in the region. China's tenuous civilian banking system could quickly falter and impact the remainder of their economy in ways we do not wish to think about. And by the way, think about the impact of China on the rest of the global economy. The 2017 Korean Peninsula is an opportunity for the United States to continue in its role as a global leader. The United States remains positioned to be that indispensable nation in the world. No other nation is better prepared to facilitate an outcome on the peninsula that will not threaten the next generation's way of life. I am not implying that the United States should act alone in any way. But if those actions with the most to lose, those nations with the most to lose, do not act, I think it is America's role to lead, diplomatically, economically, morally, and if all else fails, militarily. And finally, it's an opportunity for North Korea to join the world of responsible nations through direct talks between the United States and North Korea. This is an opportunity for the United States to take leadership role and no longer rely on third parties to negotiate on America's behalf. The United States must communicate directly to North Korea through official channels to clearly articulate the options on the table for North Korea. There must be a clear path to survival for the nation of North Korea and the current regime. Similarly, there must be a clear path to their demise if certain actions are not taken in a very specific period of time. So, in closing, this is a complex problem with very real solutions. The United States must lead, the Chinese must lead, follow, or get out of the way, and North Korea must be presented options that could result in their survival without nuclear weapons. If these steps are taken, North Korea will eventually melt away and become united with a much more successful South Korea, and the world will be better for the changes. I open today with an assertion that the Korean Peninsula of 2017 is an opportunity, not a crisis. This historical moment presents a unique opportunity precisely because it looks and feels so much like a crisis. The properties of substances and nations can change under extreme heat and pressure. After more than 6 decades of diplomatic stagnation, an unprecedented nexus of factors that brought us to this moment when the heat and pressure are high. The bright focus of the global political community is directed at this problem. It's hot, and the components of this long-standing problem are changing, and changing fast. And that means that this is a unique opportunity for a meaningful change that simply could not have happened under other leadership than ours, and also of yours, or at another time in this past 64 years than today. This is an opportunity for the United States to lead, while the nations of the region simultaneously take the opportunity and the responsibility for their futures. Thank you very much.